to strap in and get ready.
The leaders in NRL SuperCoach are incoming. Bringing you the ultimate insight to help you win your leagues and climb up the rankings.
You're now listening to the Insight NRL Show with your hosts, Brain, Mattrix, and Whisperer.
G'day guys, welcome back to the Insight NRL Show. The final major bye is finally here. It's round 18. Supercoaches have been absolutely shot to bits with injuries, and Origin 18th men have come from the clouds. The boys to my right on the screen are feeling the pinch with Reece Walsh in the number 18 jersey. Boys, it's not just that, though, that seems to be the issue for Supercoaches. We obviously copped an absolute battering last week in injuries. How did you guys fare injury-wise? Did you manage to avoid the turmoil, Josh?
My score would say no, but my team's actually in very good shape, so I'm not doing too bad. But yeah, I am going from like 3 trades to probably just 1 on the Patreon. Good plug, go sign up. Did like a massive 20-minute video about my plans for the next 4 weeks. And then Karaz being named 18th man just means I'm making 1 trade this week probably. So it throws everything out of whack. But, in good stead, mate. 11 trades left, 15 players this week, so life's good.
Love it. How about you, Matty? Do you avoid most of the injuries? Because you seem to be the one that cops most of them this year.
Yeah, I did pretty well last week. And what was it? It was like there was like a last minute, something happened really last minute. So I reversed my trade on going JC to Jesus Christ himself, Luke Metcalf. And then it didn't happen. And then he got injured. And I was there. I was not stoked for anyone to get injured. I love Lukey Metcalf. I think that he should have won the Dally M this year. But I dodged that bullet. I'm holding Marju, but I did cop the double round 18, 18th man for Origin. That one stings a little bit. But outside of that, yeah, things are pretty good. I'm not somebody that goes and runs with like 17 or 18 players in bye rounds. I just run 13 or 14 and run the gauntlet.
That's all you need, isn't it? Yeah. I feel like I've got like fucking 16 or 17 every major buy round this year. I don't know what it is, but a little bit too aggressive maybe. Who knows? I copped Karaz. I didn't cop Walsh, thankfully, but I also copped the Toby Couchman injury this week, so I'm going to have to look at moving him on. I've got Hamish Stewart. I've got Nathan Lawson. Screw the Dragons is basically how I feel this week, because every single one of them is just pissed off out of my team this week when I needed them the most. So... But anyway, that's all good. Guys, hit subscribe if you haven't yet. We'd really appreciate that. You won't miss any episodes moving forward. Hit that little bell there so you get the notification. And also, we would love for you to hit that like button. Helps us get the episode out to more people. So if you do like the content, hit that like button underneath for us to get things started. Listening on audio, hit that follow button, leave a review. Now, on today's show, we've got the squeeze of the week. Matty will bring it to you as always. We've got our best team structure for your final team. So we'll give our opinion on where you should load up, what positions are going to be the best positions to load up on for the round, for the run home, how many trades you should have for the run home, best options for nuffs. We'll talk through the nuffs as well and where you should nuff in your team. And we're going to bring you 1 pod each that is under 10% owned in the top 10% of teams. So that'll be a fun little conversation. A few very left field picks I've seen already. So, and then we'll talk through the obvious top trends, the trade trends from this week, the top 10 bought and sold. Are we holding or are we trading Azarko, AFB, Tino, Nico? They're the hot topics for this week. And Captain's Corner. Matty, who took out the squeeze of the week, mate?
Look, the squeeze of the week, as always, is brought to you by the Standard Squeeze. They've been phenomenal for the podcast. They've been giving away $40 to $50 worth of stuff every week. And they're unreal. They help you drink responsibly and conveniently by pouring the perfect shot. You can keep all your grog in these little containers. Squeeze them out and, make sure that you haven't drunk too much. Honestly, just make sure that you get those consistent drinks. That we also give away the 4-in-1s to the winners if you choose that. And they come in all sorts of colours. Come in pink. I love taking my pink one to work. I love washing it out at about 10 o'clock. And then if I do crack a tinny in the afternoon, I can just squeeze that thing right in there. They're unreal. Use code IFS 2025 to get 15% off on us and, just get involved. But somebody that won't have to get 15% off, because he will get 100% off, is Ray, coach of Don't Loop. He scored 1568, and I tell you what, I felt like a winner this week. I would feel a lot more like a winner if I had Eli Katoa, Isaiah Katoa, Hughes, Drinky, Shibasaki, and Schiller, all with 100s. And wait for it, he captained Hamiso for 129.
Oh, my guy.
That
Big ups,
week,
Ray.
yeah, big. Oh, not just like great team. Tell me, Eli Katoa, Izzy Katoa, Shibasaki, Schiller, and Hammer are just like fucking max vibes.
Oh, huge. Unreal vibes.
Yeah, but unreal. You've won yourself a pack. Slide into our DMs. We'll send that out to you, mate. And Justin, coach of Just To'o, good. I get it now. Takes the lead and moves into 7th overall with a 1395. And there's still 21 of our coaches from our league in the top 100. Let's bring it home, boys.
Flying, absolutely flying. Well done. One of the better reads we've had for a sponsor on the podcast so far this year as well. The man's on fire, as you'd see in the chat. Get involved, guys. We've got plenty to get through in this show, so let's rip into the hot topics for round 18. Now, this has been definitely a hot topic inside the Patreon for our subscribers this week. Josh, team structure. Teams and loading up in certain positions, maybe spending a little bit too much cash in certain positions that aren't really that favourable for the run home. What are you thinking in terms of your team structure? Like how many, and I guess for everybody trying to understand the question, how many hookers are you going to be playing in your final 18? How many front row forwards, etc.? What's the ideal structure for you based on your best 18 players?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a best 18. It's probably more just like a holistic approach, but like, I guess we can get the ones out of the way. Like it's hooker, it's 5'8". I think 5'8's an exception if you've got Jaden Campbell and Cameron Munster. Any other combo, I'm only happy. I'm just going to run one. We've all got Terrell May, we've all got Payne Haas. Then it comes down to whether you own like an AFB or a Tarpany or whatnot. I imagine that we all own a Colin Matangi, so we're going to classify him as sort of his own player. He's going to switch between the two. But mate, I'm looking at something like a 1-3 4/5 pending colo 2-1-5-2 but it's probably like a 3. We're running 3 fullbacks, and for anyone confused with numbers, that's sort of how many people that are playable in each position. Sorry, just catching my breath. Yeah, so 1-3-5-2-1-5-3. I
think I'm close. I'm looking at obviously just one hooker. I'm probably going to nuff out hooker 2 at this stage. Then I'm going to back in probably in my ideal team. I'll probably just run with 2 front row forwards. Might seem a little bit left field, but I'm just a high upside guy. I'd rather load up at centre wing. I'd rather load up on a 2RF that could go large one week than play a front row forward 3 in Tarpany or AFB. I don't own either of those guys. So I'm probably just going to lean into May and Haas and then let the other boys do the work. 2RF, I'll probably play 4 most weeks. I'll definitely be running double gun halfback. Just makes sense with the options. We've got 3 really good ones to pick from. 1-5-8, 5 centre wings, and then obviously I'm always going to play my reserve fullback. Matty, what are you thinking? Do you have anything a little bit left field or different to us?
Yeah, not really. Just to save on time, I'm going to mention when I go to my reserves, basically where I go first. And for me, it's playing a front row forward. So I have, honestly, probably 6 playable guys, and some guys like in their late 400s and in 400k that I'll play on matchup. But I usually pick one of those. I have that JC Munster combination in 5/8. So I usually find myself, if nobody's on a bye, playing 4 halves total. And then that probably just gives me, the fullback and there's usually a bye or 2 floating around. And then I do end up playing 1 or 2 center wings, depending if I need it, depending on matchup. And it is a great luxury to be able to sit somebody that's north of 500k and maybe not play them because they have a good defensive matchup because they look like they weren't going that side the week before. I'll have a big look at that. So yeah, it's probably more like where I pick my reserves because of course, yeah, we've all got the May and Haas, which you don't have to think too much about it at front row forward. Why overthink it? And I've got the duels to move like a Kalamatangi up there if I need to massage my team around. So.
Yeah, I guess it also comes down to what positions are really performing well for us this year as well, right? Like, for the most part, we said it at the start of the year, we're probably back there again and gone full circle. You're playing 3 fullbacks, right? You're using your flex to get a third fullback. There's a few good options now, Josh, that we're going to have to make some hard decisions potentially after Origin on which one of these gun fullbacks we're going to get as our flex, per se. But are you loading up at centre wing as well? Are you someone who's going to look to have 6 centre wing guns moving forward?
I think in like plans, I've got like 4 like elites, 1 like mid tier, and then like 1 RTS type that like playing on matchups. So I think it's like 6, but like 5 of them that are good, and 1 of them that's sort of up and down.
Yeah, that's probably me as well. And I guess for the most part, most of us have Keon, we have Katoa, unless you're Mattrix, and we have Dylan Lucas, right? So those 3 guys are plays every week. Whether you've got Lucas at centre wing or 2RF, you're going to be playing him most weeks, I'd naturally assume. So there's 2RFs straight off the bat. And then you've also got all these guys putting their hand up this week. You've got the Bulldogs guys. You've got a few other options there. You've got your duels that you can flick up to front row forward. So, yeah, I guess there's no concrete answer to us saying you have to have it this way, and there's no best way to have your team structured, but I guess it comes down to where you're spending your money because, again, Josh, we spoke about this in the buy, hold, sell and in the Q&A this week. Some teams have 4 gun front row forwards, and realistically what that does is it kind of caps you being able to play these other higher upside positions at 2RF. Like, you're never going to reserve both your front row forward 3 and 4 for a week because it means you might not be able to get your halfback 2 or your fullback 2 or your centre wing 5.
Yeah, like if you're sitting there with Haas, May, Tapani, and AFB, like you're never not reserving both of those because they're 650k guys. But then you're definitely reserving your backup fullback. You got 1 spot. Like if you own Hughes and Cleary, then you got no more reserves left, and you're stuck playing 4 centre wings, 3 2RF. So. It's why duels are so handy, and it's just it's just obviously not loading up on one position because it does definitely restrict you. Having depth is nice. If you've got like if you have like a Jack Williams, right? Like having him, you might sit him some weeks. That's great because he's dual, you can move him around. But like if you have AFB, you bought him to play him. You're never just sitting him regardless of matchup. So it's just be careful about how you're structuring those lower bench positions, like the lower number bench positions. Yeah,
and even these like borderline playable guys, like I've still got Naff White sitting there. Like I didn't trade him, I just held him through his injury, and he's a perfectly playable front row forward 3 if I needed to, worst case. Like he's a number for me this week, but I could play him and be relatively comfortable playing him on the run home as an extra number, averaging 50, not 60 on the year. So like having a guy like that as your Jack Williams, who's on a tear at the moment, as an extra playable guy when injury hits is perfectly fine. I don't think you need to go and trade those guys out or upgrade them per se. But I guess this probably flows into the loop options. But before I do, Matty, you got something to say, mate? You've just thrown your own notes in here. Throw to Mattrix.
Yeah, I just got some really hot topics, and it's for the guys in the chat. So the stinger is like the old hot. Yeah, cool. You're eating curry. But let us know in the chat if you would like us to change it to Snoop Dogg's Drop It Like It Hot, or Mims, This Is Why I'm Hot. So just drop it in the chat. Everybody just drop it. It's really important. And look, it helps the flow of the show, I believe.
It does. It is very important, especially, what's even more important? The person that does the stingers, that creates them. Because it will not be Mattrix. It will be me. So I would much prefer that we keep it the way that it is so I don't have to do any extra work in round fucking 18. Thanks, Mattrix. Appreciate that.
Yeah, you're right, man.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. Maybe you want to run the show? I might just sit over here and...
Yeah, cool. So now I've got the best loop options, which I thought was really important as I was writing the notes this week. I'd like to start with the Miles Martin and the Makahisi Makatoa at front row forward, second row forward. I'll start with you, Braino. What do you think?
Yeah, look, I think if you need a player to get you 22 this week, Makahesi Makatoa is a fantastic option. I genuinely think, though, that Miles Martin, you're better off nothing out. I think the extra 20 points you're going to get from Makatoa are just complete, real waste of time kind of vibes there, bringing a guy in who, look, is he going to be an AE nightmare? No, I don't think so. I don't think he'll be an AE nightmare. I think he disappears pretty quickly, but does the 20 points, what's he cost? Is he bottom dollar, Makatoa? Not even sure.
I'm going to own Makahisi Makatoa purely on vibes, and not for vibes you expect. He has the best Instagram name in all of NRL. It's Makahisi McDonald's.
That's good. Well played.
Yeah.
How good. Yeah, well, I mean,
he's 211k. He's 211k. You know what? That 1 week that you're like 13k short, you're gonna wish you just bought Miles Martin.
Absolutely. I was just gonna say that. Like that 13k could make a big difference between you getting the guy you need at the end of the year, because trades are tight. You're not going to want to make 2 trade moves and enough a ton of players to get out of it. You are going to want enough eventually, but definitely not. Not too aggressively, I guess. Josh, front row forward. Is that front row forward 4 replace you'd enough?
Yes, very much so. I did it last week, and I'm sitting here with a really nice Ethan Roberts. So he's been a guy, and he'll continue to be a guy. Probably the best one. Like not getting a game anytime soon. Bottom dollar, Jill, which is always handy. Same with Miles Martin. Like take your pick, really. Do
we want to? I guess maybe for anybody who's new to SuperCoach or it's their first year and they don't really understand why getting enough is more advantageous to get rather than a Makatoa who'll get you points this week. But what's the risk of buying a guy that's going to play moving forward? Because it is a little bit different this year, right? Like, we don't. The NUF is likely going to drop out or the DNP is going to drop out when they don't play. Yeah, and that's like. It's, I guess, controversial saying this on a widely viewed. I hate Jed Stewart as a purchase. Like I think it's a purchase that makes no sense to me, and you can't tell me a reason that I can get on board with it. So I'd rather a guy like David Farley over Jed Stewart. And people that have never played this game must be sitting there being like, well, why? Like that seems very counterintuitive. Because we've got to the stage of the season now where we have enough depth that we don't need Jed Stewart. What is buying him and him getting you 19 points achieve? Nothing. So you're going to a guy that's definitely not going to be playing, obviously freeing up a bunch of cash. And then you're never going to be stuck looping. Like, how many times early on in the season have we been like, oh, I might loop my 95, but my AE's got 21 points. Maybe I'll just skip it. Whereas at the back end of the year, like your AE, I think the way I'm going to set my team up, my AE is going to be Latu Fainu, which is an absolutely perfectly fine AE. You don't want to be having low-scoring guys on the bench that don't offer you anything. The thing with Jed Stewart is you're never going to be able to sell him. He's never going to make enough cash for you to realize the equity and sell him. You're going to be stuck with him until round 27. You'd just rather get a guy that doesn't play. Stuart and Kez in the chat, Stuart has the ability to score 40 off one play and still finish.
Yeah, but he also got the ability to score 40 in the 79 other minutes of the game as well.
Yeah, last week I think he had he scored a try somehow and had 31 in base, but like -8 in negatives, and somehow ended up scoring his base but less than the try that he even scored in the first place. So yeah, look, it's not ideal. Latu Fainu could get you a 22, Corey. I actually don't think he's got a 22 in him personally. He just got humped and he got 40. Yeah,
he got more than that.
I think he got 44 or something.
He got 43. He got absolutely rissoled, did nothing.
Yeah, that was one of the Tigers' fucking worst games of the year, and they keep getting worse and worse. So if that's the worst we're going to get from Latu Fainu, then I'm fine with that.
But
and
also,
we're Tigers,
I bought Latu Fainu 10 weeks ago. I think it's vastly different to buying Jed Stewart this week.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Kalani keep going, as we call him. Probably one of the best nuffs in the game, I guess you could say. 2RF hooker duel is one of the better dual position nuffs that we can have in the game at the moment. And I guess it opens the door for us to have that Cameron McInnes or the Connor Watson flexibility up and down in those positions. Like, obviously, if you're getting Connor Watson, he is going to be playable at 2RF for the most part, I'd say, for the run home. But then if you're someone that's got Blake Brayley or you're someone that has Harry Grant that you know he's going to get a rest at the back end of the year, having that flexibility to get going down to 2RF and get Connor Watson up to be your hooker so you don't cop an AE is massive. So I got going last week and I'm pretty happy about it. And there's every chance I think he's going to end up at hooker in a couple of weeks for Sandon Smith. Anything to add?
Which is unreal. Like if you've got the flexibility to do that, I'll be trying to go Sandon Smith to someone, which of course is 2 trades, because if I want that guy for the run home, I think Sandon's like 500k or 510k at the moment, so I've got to spend some money to do that. Kalani going at 2RF this week is hitting it absolutely out of the park, just with how many 2RF and front row forwards we seem to get. This one's the best one. This one's like that center wing 2RF duel that we always chased, except Hook has been so bad this year. We've been gifted going.
Yeah, absolutely. Cody Ramsey, centre wing fullback, got that nice little duel there. I don't think we're ever going to need him at fullback realistically, but you just never know where you're going to be in a few weeks and what you're going to need to get a full 18 on the field. Hopefully we don't get ravaged by injuries, Josh. But your boy Cody Ramsey, do you feature for 2 years as your team name in SuperCoach?
Yeah, but different variants. So I had the Ramsey redemption after I bought him in 2021 when he played fullback and did nothing. And then he was the Ramsey rehabilitation after he got the long-term illness. And then I was the Ramsey resurrection for like 2 weeks at the start of the year. And then I changed it because I think I made a graphic with my team and Ramsey resurrection was too long. So I literally just changed my team so I didn't have to change the graphic. Smart.
It's all about the design.
If no pressing issues happen in round 27 and I have trades, I will be buying him just to finish the season with him.
For vibes.
And whoever's in first, I really want them to do it. Hopefully they follow me, and I want them to do it around. If they're coming first by like 400 points and they've got no trades to make, just bring him in for me.
And you could then say I finished the season with Cody Ramsey. He was really pivotal to my win in SuperCoach for 2025.
Of course. Especially the head-to-head.
Yeah, a big contributor. So Cody Ramsey, another option. Ethan Roberts, front row forward 2RF duel, won't be playing at all for the Roosters, I wouldn't have thought. So again, another guy who's not going to hurt you with shit scores off the bench. Kane Bradley's an interesting one. I think I'm more on board with Kane Bradley than Josh is. So it'd be an interesting conversation to have. I feel like Kane Bradley's never going to be in a position for the Storm where he doesn't actually score you points or be in a position to score you points. He's either playing 80 minutes or he's playing 0. So for someone who needs another player at centre wing this week, and maybe you've got 11 or 12 players, I feel like he's a fine option. I guess that's pending Will Warbrick comes back soon. Jack Howarth spend a couple of weeks out. You might even get 18 and 19 out of Kane Bradley. Does that change your opinion if you get 2 weeks out of him, Josh, or you just don't need the player, you don't care?
Isn't he like 260k or something?
230.
Yeah. Like Matty said, like what are you going to do in 4 weeks' time if you're 40k short?
I guess if you need the number for this week and next week, it's not a bad shout.
Would you just go Rodwell then?
You could, but Tom Rodwell's been named in Cup as well this week, so there could be every chance he actually doesn't.
Look, I'm going to be really honest, and this is me being very transparent. If you're needing Kane Bradley this week, probably have other problems. I'm just going to be honest.
Maybe. I mean, he did well in the games that he played.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not super high on Kane Bradley, just because like last year we did see him named at 14. But hey, yeah, if you find yourself with a plethora of money and you really need the players, like, yeah, Bradley. I'm just a big fan of Nuffs that I don't expect to play. But you're right. Bradley could jag a 60 or 70 this week. And then, you're eating your own words. So if you do have 12 and you're using him like enough, I don't really foresee him with that bench structure, Braino. You're right. I don't see Bradley getting named on the bench. But kind of like if he has a ripper week, like do they do like a token bench spot ever? I don't know.
So
maybe.
He played one game on the wing last year for 80 minutes and scored 23. Played one game on the edge for 80 minutes and scored 39. Then had a couple of games in the COVID year that I don't talk about. And I think, and then looking at footy stats, he played one game at 80 minutes this year. And how'd that go? Let me have a look.
2 tries and 56, so shit base.
Yeah,
20 in base.
Oh, so he's just a more expensive Jed Stewart.
Could be. But Jed Stewart isn't going to disappear. That's the issue.
Yeah,
Kane Bradley will be gone.
Yeah. It's a no from me, dog.
I mean, I'm still on board, so you make of it what you want. And also on Tom Rodwell, apparently I'm mixing up Toby Rodwell and Tom Rodwell. So Tom Rodwell.
T. Rodwell.
T. Rodwell.
I think this is a bad omen for Kane Bradley. 2024 had a player profile photo on SA Stats. 2025, no photo.
What's he look like now?
Yeah, gonna write him off now.
His head looks like a plank. It's just very thin and very long.
He actually looks like I expect him to look like in the new Rugby League 26.
He looks like Craig Fitzgibbon's silhouette.
No, he looks like a WWE 2K creator wrestler that you've done no edits on.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I know Kane Bradley's probably a big fan of the show. Sorry, man.
Yeah. No, it's just we haven't unlocked Kane Bradley for this year yet. That's all.
He's vacant.
You look like a guy I'd have a beer with.
Yeah, absolutely. David Farley, you're keen on a guy that you just don't need to play, right? So he's probably the option. Just
anyone. Like, unfortunately, this year there's actually not that many 2RF centre wings. That's you and Aiken, baby. That's why I held you. Honestly, it's probably why I have held him. So, yeah, I mean, it's 2RF6. And with, like, how big centre wings are this year, Lucas probably will stay at 2RF all year. So, centre wings 7. Just a pure enough.
Yeah, agree with that. And Jake Elliott, halfback 5'8", probably the guy if you want enough there, but I wouldn't recommend nothing in a position that only has 2 players in it. You just never know what's going to happen. So 5'8", halfback, not a fan of nothing. There was a question in the chat. I've got to quickly... here we go, from FC Sports. What's the max nuffs to have for the run home? How many is absolute max?
Oh, absolute max is like 7. But
I mean like that
4.
is smart. Yeah,
4.
Hooker, front row forward 4.
Yeah, 1 at hooker, 1 at front row forward 4. Keep going. And then like centre wings 7.
Yep. Sam Healy.
And nuffs, not studs.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully they're your best enough options for round 18 onwards, basically. I guess this week is a week you can start to nuff. I'm definitely looking at nuffing potentially front row forward 4 this week. I've just got to work out trades and work out whether I'll have enough cash without it or whether I need to go early. I guess utilising the 3 trades, if you're out of boost like me since round 7, utilising the 3 trade week in round 18 can be something worth doing if you're looking at freeing up a bit of extra money. Boys, we're going to bring 1 pod to the table each under 10% owned. And I know that Matty's been thinking about this all day. He even called me during the day today and he said, fuck, I've got so many options for this pod under 10%. So Matty, we're going to throw over to you, mate. Who you got?
Yeah, so like in the NBL podcast last night with Hammer, weird plug, dropped out. I've gone to the old pen and paper, I think that you'll see in the into that. And I just want to start with Turbo averages 75 at centre. No, just joking there. But it's probably
He's not joking.
That's the problem. Like,
no, he's 10% owned. Sorry, not eligible.
Yeah. But it's using the look. I tried to think of like where we've got money and like using the Metcalf money, like. Ezra or Strange are guys that you can play on matchup. And, like, watching Ezra the last couple of weeks, I think I said to somebody at about 8:10 on Monday when they're trying to vibe with me at footy at work, and they're like, geez, that Carapani went all right. And I said, mate, Ezra gave him so much space, you or I could have scored on the wing for the
Did you say to him, mate, you had a minus 89 break even?
Yeah. I did. But I just said, like, anyone could have scored there on the wing because Ezra gave him so much space. So I do think Ezra's price, I do think Ethan Strange's draw are guys that should be in consideration. And, yeah, there's so many people with that Luke Metcalf trade. You could just go Ezra or Strange in and have a playable option through the run home, both within, like, that 400 to 500K radius. Oh, no, Strange is expensive, yeah.
If you're buying Ezra, though, you do sacrifice vibes. Low vibes.
You do lose vibes.
Low vibes.
Yeah, you do lose vibes. Yeah, I've got nothing to say there.
Yeah.
Good decision. Josh, we clashed in the chat about this one because we must have been thinking about the same thing at the same time. So
No, because I was literally looking at him like 10 minutes before you messaged. I was just sitting on it, and then you said, "What about this guy?" And I was like, "Fuck off!" Like, I was literally looking at him. And it's Grant Fanderson.
He's back.
He's
Fanderson
back.
hasn't had a mention in the pod for a while.
Averages 78.4 on the wing. I read something today that Warbrick's probably still at least sort of 4 or 5 weeks away. So I'll tell you what, Grant Fanderson, he's 530k, averaging nearly 80 on the wing. I'm tempted.
I mean, on a good team, he's not getting rested, that's for sure. I guess the question becomes, Xavier Coates, does he cop a rest backing up from Origin? I think you probably naturally assume he does in round 19. So he gets one game there. Jack Howarth just had his appendix taken out, so 2 to 3 weeks, you reckon he'll be back?
Yeah, that's if Meany shifts out.
And what Will Warbrick's doing as well. Nobody knows what's going on with Will Warbrick. Back to training,
I haven't
but
heard
apparently
anything
not close
for
to game.
ages.
He returned to light running this week apparently, but he's been doing that for a while. And then, for anyone that's not familiar, like you have to display concussion-free symptoms for like 7 days, and each day is a new thing. So if you get to like day 4 and then you have them, you have to reset. So apparently he was getting to like day 3 or day 4 heaps, and then like having delayed concussion symptoms, and has to start the whole process again. So he's just returned to light running at training, but he has been doing that for a while, unfortunately.
He just seems like the guy that, it was Nico Hines from Melbourne Storm in 21, or I think was it 21 or 22?
Yeah,
where he just kept getting a gig. Everyone kept getting injured around him. That's Grant Anderson this year. Must be something to do with the Storm, but everyone keeps he just keeps getting a run. So
you guys wanting him just sounds like Queensland media at the moment. I know you guys are down south, but they're like, Grant Anderson, what a great guy. He's going to be unreal.
Confused where he fits into the Broncos next year.
I don't know. I don't know. Battling a spot with Karapani, maybe.
Maybe. Feels kind of gross though to bench Karapani for old Fanderson.
Yeah. Don't know. Anyway, moving on to my pod. I put a post up on Daniel Tupou. I won't be lazy though and use Daniel Tupou. I'll find another one. It's Murray Taulagi from Cowboys. Now, obviously, has a fair run, pretty free run, especially in head-to-head finals. When we get to head-to-head finals, they play Parramatta, then they play Newcastle, Tigers, into Broncos in head-to-head grand finals. So for me, I think if you're pretty solidified in your head-to-head comp, you want to find a bit of a pod, especially at centre wing, which I think is the best place to find your pods and take your upside swings because you've got 7 players there. Murray Taulagi honestly could be a great shout. The only tough part about it is that this week the matchup's fine because they're missing a few of their guys, Melbourne. But then he comes into the Bulldogs in round 19, which will definitely be a tricky matchup. Then they've got the Finns, Dragons, Sharks after that. So things open up for the Cowboys pretty nicely, I think, once they get through this Bulldogs matchup in round 19. And looking at his scores, there's only 4 games out of 13 that he has not scored a try in. So to be fair to him, he's averaging 64 points per game in SuperCoach this year. And not one person said a fucking word about him. So I'm on Murray Taulagi. I might take a punt on him maybe next week. I probably should follow through, considering I've mentioned him. And Josh should buy Grant Anderson. Is that the way this works?
I'm actually thinking about it. Like, I'm only making one trade this week, and I'm sitting here with like Morgan Smithies, Jesse Ramian, Billy Smith, and 200k in the bank. I'm like, maybe.
Mm-hmm. I could do Billy Smith next week to Taulagi if I wanted. That could be doable. Anyway, we'll keep that for Patreon. And if people want to know what our teams are and our trades, we do full videos on them. So you can check that out there. Links in the description below. All right, let's have a look at the trade trends. All of the most bought and sold players ahead of round 18.
Targets acquired.
Trade trends brought to you by Ryan from Astute Newstead. No funny questions tonight, but with the RBA giving us another rate cut, it is great news for homeowners or people looking to get into the market. So if your rates are above 5.65%, you want to buy your first home, maybe you want to renovate the current home you're in, or just save some cash, Ryan's your guy. Does all the heavy lifting, does all the work for you, has over 40 lenders on panel, including all of the major banks to get you the best deal. And the best part, It doesn't cost you a thing. He gets paid by the banks and it doesn't cost you a cent. So you can book your free consult, have a chat with him about your situation. The link is in the description below to get in touch with Ryan. Now, obviously, we do our buy, hold and sell segment specifically for the Patreon subscribers. You can check that out there by becoming a member in the link below. But we've got some pretty raring trades coming this week. And the first and most bought player by all coaches this week is Mark Nwanganitawaze. Coming up against the Tigers, Josh, which I'm genuinely petrified about, and also probably a little bit depressed about, considering I'm going to have to go to the game and listen to Aman give it to us for 80 minutes. That's going to be fun. But I'm a big fan of this buy. I think it makes a lot of sense. 6.2% of people are bringing him in. He's lining up against Luke Lalili and is it Jarrell Skelton on that edge?
Yeah.
Tigers are absolutely decimated. There's no leadership on the field with Api Coruscant or Jerome Luai. Like, I just think it's that the Roosters are going to have a fair bit of fun. And I think Marky Mark at centre or on the wing, I don't give a shit, really. It doesn't bother me whether he's at centre or on the wing. This he could be at prop, and I'd probably still buy him this week. Anything to add?
Yeah. Absolutely can see why over 10,000 people have brought him in, averaging nearly 80 points on the year, bases through the roof, attacks there. He's just a specimen. He just creates space for himself. And up against Skelton and Lowley, it's going to be a very, very rough 80 minutes, and I'm going to be drinking a lot of beer on Aman's dollar to put up with the pain.
Shout out to Aman. Got us some pretty nice tickets to the footy on Sunday. Matty, what are your thoughts on Marky Mark? Is he someone in your sights?
Yeah, I've done my trades at centre wing, and I do think that it's a sideways from anyone I could go there. I understand getting him in if you're upgrading, if you're downgrading to get, maybe an injured guy up or something like that. I do think that this guy is one of the guys with the best matchups this week. So yeah, 100%. Appreciate you getting him in and understand why he's the most traded in player. I get it.
Do we not understand the next one? Jed Stewart, second most purchased player, 198k basement price. We've had our say on him. We won't.
Let's give Josh the floor. You got 20 minutes. He hates Jed Stewart. Jed Stewart has nightmares with Josh looking at him, saying, "You're shit.
It's like
You're not a first
Talakai
grader.
and Morgan Harper.
You're awful."
I just can't think of a good reason to buy. And we've got a fair few people watching right now. If you can give me one good reason to buy him, absolutely. And if you say, "Oh, Raiders draw, sick," I want to see him in your team every week from now until around 27. I am a week gutted dog, absolutely, definitely. But no, it'd be a week gutted pup, wouldn't it? Because it's coming from junior Stewart, not senior, so it'd be like a younger dog.
It's true.
Am I being too harsh?
A week gutted pup.
Can you see the appeal? Because I don't.
No, I mean, look, the difference is minus 80 break even. If you had something like that and you could go, make mass cash, sure, but minus 22. He scored 45 and 46 with tries involved. So, yeah, and one of them had a line break. So, for me, I don't know. It just feels like we're chasing a player this week for the sake of chasing a player when we're never going to play him. And I don't know. It just doesn't feel like the direction I'd go in with my team, knowing that I wouldn't want to end up with a really shit score on my bench and it kind of muck around with the rest of the structure of my team.
My problem is when he scores 10 and you're already burning, a 17 player. Even when you've got a good matchup, I just don't think that when he's got a good matchup, you might be tempted to play him. Much like Carapani was cheap as chips a few weeks ago. The thing is, Reece Walsh sweeps that way. And Jed Stewart doesn't seem to get sort of any good ball. Some of the tries that he scored, seems to just fall in his hands or I don't know. Yeah, you just can't get around it because I do think that this guy has a 10 in him, and that's why I'm staying away.
Corey said in the chat, look how Tamale was going, and that's why I bought him. But Tamale and Jed Stewart are polar opposites in the way they play.
Tamale had an 11 tackle bus game, which is 22 points, which is probably more base than Jed Stewart's had in 2 weeks combined.
He has 25 points per game in evade stats this year.
Yeah.
That is wild. Probably BP of near 50 for Tamale. Yeah. And when you look at Stewart, I can't imagine it to be anywhere near that. Very different players.
It's like comparing Toto to Xavier Coates, effectively, at a high level.
Yeah. I mean, 24 in base and 9 in evade for Jed Stewart in 2 games. Versus, you're talking 9 versus 25 in evade. So, yeah, not for me. But I don't think you can use the comparison of Tamale and Stewart, sadly. What do we got? Third player on the list, Jerome Hughes, makes sense. Comes up against the Cowboys, who concede the most points to halfback, so we don't need to sit too much on that one. 5% of teams bringing him in, that's over 8,500 people. So we don't need to talk too much on that. Jacob Preston, though, we can talk about, because it's the Jacob Preston versus Kickow argument, really, isn't it, Matty? Like, we've been trying to work out which edge do we want. Some people have just gone with both. You're a Jacob Preston owner. Are you happy? I mean, obviously everyone's flocking to Preston over Kickout this week, but they're around the similar ownership in the top 10% of teams. What are your thoughts on this one?
So in what I've seen from Preston since he's been back, I would probably prefer to own Kickout. I don't necessarily think either are a buy for the run home, just because, like, I think Preston should get the ball more than he does, but I think Kickout gets the ball more than he probably needs to. Like, I'm just really worried about their shape and the way that they go. But look, Preston running at Piakura this week, I get it, but he's awfully expensive. Like, I do just wonder if you could use that money elsewhere. Like, what is he going to be, like your 2RF, like 5? Like, is he that much better than whatever your 2RF 3 is? I don't know. I don't really... Like, last week was an absolute grind, and he scored a try and got 90. Jacob Preston in his prime used to score 90 without a try. Like, I'm not seeing the Jacob Preston of old at the moment. I'm seeing people that have probably checked their SuperCoach score, saw a 90 and said Jacob Preston's back. The week before, he didn't get, like, any good ball.
That's the concern, isn't it? I guess, Josh, we spoke about this a fair bit over the last few shows that we've done, because Kickouts and Preston have both been in people's mouths this last week. But it's that right to left dominant. I planned that. It's that right to left dominant play from the Bulldogs, right? The ball's going to be in Matt Burton's hands much more. I think it's very rare to see them with shape to the right, prioritising Preston into a gap. And Wayne makes a good point in the chat, Josh.
Yeah, so Wayne says, why would you want a second rower when your half changes mid-game? At least you know Kicks is getting 80 minutes with the same edge, you know with Ball's getting. I fully agree. If they're going to continue with this Sexton for 60, Galvin for 20, like I just want Preston. I just want Kick Out because the Burton factor's there. Also think it's a better look this week with no Crichton, no Carraz, Burton in. You expect a lot more ball to go down left. Probably expect them to target Ricky and Reynolds all game to open up Preston VP Akora, but I expect the bulk of the ball to go left. And we were saying on the Patreon buy, hold, and sell, like Kickout is now a 60-60 guy, which is not something that we ever discussed on. And for anyone not familiar, 60-60 is just 60% of his games are over 60 points, which is a sign of a very, very consistent player. And we never really associated that with Kickout in years gone by.
Never.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Next one's Teddy, 5th most purchased player for very, very good reason. I think Tedesco's last 3 scores against the West Tigers, 116, 109, 111. And he just loves to terrorise us ever since he left us. I don't know whether he scored poorly against the Tigers since when did he leave us? 2018, 17?
Do you think it goes back to that question that I asked him in the preseason, just about if he's still upset that he didn't get a barbecue from the Tigers? He refused to comment, which for me tells me that it still stings deep that he doesn't have a weapon.
He was absolutely burning.
Unlike Luke Brooks, whose barbecue was burning.
Yeah, we'll leave that one there. But Teddy, I think, will be a very, very popular VC or C. We'll talk about him soon. We won't touch on it now. KO Weeks, number 6, very pottish. 2.8% of people jumping on him. Do you think it's chasing last week's points potentially off that 109 that he got last week, Matty?
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I've seen him score poorly against good teams. I've seen him score well against, like, good teams. I've seen him score poorly against bad teams. I just don't know when KO Weeks is going to cook. And at 450K, bringing in a guy like this, I'm not looking for cash generation in round 18. I've made the money that I think I'm going to make. So I'm not burning 2 trades to trade him in and then trade him out. I just don't know when I could ever knowingly trust KO Weeks. And that's like he had He probably has a 3-round average, and I'm not even looking it up. A 3-round average of 55, scoring 100 last week. That's the problem for me.
It's a fair argument. You look at his scores this year and you go through 33, 21, 44, 33, 32. He's had three scores over 100, and probably most of his scores under 45, to be fair. So, ultimate idea of rocks and diamonds. And if you're happy to ride those waves, great, that's fine. If you want that high upside player with the Canberra Raiders draw, he'll give you that. But it'll also give you a 20. So
I think Mattrix is just scared about owning Reece Walsh twice.
That's fair. Bit insulting that you've just compared KO Weeks to the same ability as Reece Walsh, but
insulting
you're the
to Reece
Queenslander,
Walsh,
not me.
considering the Raiders are first.
Yeah, he's no Reece Walsh, that's for sure. Eli Katoa, if you're going to buy Jerome Hughes, you've got to get the best stack in the game in Eli Katoa. It just makes sense, right? He's the 7th most bought. So, Mattrix, are you eventually going to buy Eli Katoa, or are you just going to go full season fade?
If you're going to fade a second row forward, and I've always said this, it's probably going to say it in my tombstone. If you're going to fade a second row forward, make sure they average 75.
Okay.
Make sure it's the Tour F1.
Yeah.
Yes. Make sure it's the best one. Scotty Drinkwater is the 8th most purchased player. 2.5% of people bringing him in. If I didn't have Scotty, I'm an owner, by the way, and I'm not selling him. I'm happy that I own him. But if I didn't own him, I wouldn't be buying him now. I'd be waiting a week and targeting one of these fullbacks from Origin.
It's so fun. We've gone on a wave, and another plug for the Patreon. We do a buy, hold, and sell article as well every week. And I feel like for 3 weeks, we were like, sell Drinkwater, sell Drinkwater, sell Drinkwater. Last week, we were like, hold Drinkwater. He scores 150, and now we're like, no, don't buy him.
Yeah.
Now's not a time to buy him. So it's been a full circle. Not keen on buying him. I feel like if you've come to round 18 and you don't own him, you're probably not going to own him in round 27. So just let it go.
I guess if he's very relatively well owned in the top 10% of teams, right? So if you're sitting pretty in the rankings right now, you don't need to chase any ground. Maybe you're sitting first in your head-to-head comp. There is absolutely no need to go against the crowd. But it's more just a matter of us looking at it going, can Dylan Edwards outscore Drinkwater for the run home? And realistically, he probably can. Can Latrell Mitchell outscore him on the run home? Can Reece Walsh outscore him on the run home? All of these guys are capable of going bigger than Drinky on the run home. But it's more a matter of that head-to-head schedule that we spoke about earlier. If you're a head-to-head player, you want Drinky in head-to-head finals.
Yeah, and it's kind of... I get it. I get the appeal. But, all those other guys that you mentioned, Braino, aren't playing Melbourne and the Bulldogs the next 2 weeks. I think I'd rather prefer Walsh against the bye, or not playing at all, than Drinky against Melbourne. It just screams
big gaming coming from Reece Walsh against the bye. It's like we always say at 10 o'clock on a Monday, we open our app up and see who the bye's playing.
Honestly, Scott Drinkwater and the Cowboys have been in awful form, and then they're playing Melbourne. If he scores at 15 this week, are you really surprised if he's the one that drops out? I captained him last week, and I wouldn't be surprised if he scores sub 30. That's how I feel about Scott Drinkwater.
He did score 33 last round. They had no Origin players, and that was against the Finns.
Was Clifford back then? He was, wasn't he?
He was back.
And that was after updates, because he scored 15 or something.
Yeah. Got a pretty little update, that's for sure.
That's why I'm 17,000.
Fair, just blame him. Actually, to be fair, that's probably a good 200, 250 point swing, so it makes a bit of sense.
I must be up shit creek then, because I'm ranked the same as you, and I didn't captain him. I didn't even own him.
That's probably also the reason you are where you are, because you haven't owned him. So it's Drinky's fault, both sides.
I captained Drinky for his 33 and his 133. So, if you can't take me at my worst, you can't accept me at my best. That's Drinky.
100%. All right, let's move on to the sells. I reckon we're going to spend all of 2 minutes on this one. Luke Metcalf injured, most sold player, makes sense. People are still selling Tino, which I don't know whether I can get around. Josh, we spoke about this in a fair bit of depth around the argument around selling versus holding Tino. Now, I think we're probably on the other side of the fence. It feels like a Drinkwater conversation all over again. We've been saying sell Tino for the last 3 weeks, but fuck, he's dropped so much cash. It kind of feels like there's no point selling him now if you've held this long.
Yeah, we said sell at 750. We said sell at 700. We said sell at 650, and now he's at 570. We're like, well, you've come this far. You may as well just wait. Minutes were up last week, which is great. Not sure if he's going to back up next week. Just gives another time for that sternum to heal. The minutes were promising. The production wasn't, but you back Tino to bounce back. So, yeah, I'm just keen to hold if you come this far.
What are you doing with Tom Jenkins, Matty? This is obviously 624K. Like, this is peak price, I'm assuming. 124 break even when he plays in round 19. Are you just using his cash, or do you think that he could be someone that you could genuinely hold for the run home?
Just before that, is he the cheapie of the year?
Got to be close, man.
Yeah.
Like, even Sandon only 502. Like, Sandon probably got to 550 peak. But it was the way that Jenko got to 600. He was unreal. He was unreal. He was Brett Morris for about 3 weeks, and then he was dog shit when McLean forgot how to pass. Now he's just been, like, amazing again. But, yeah, Matty, what are you doing with him?
I'm holding him. Like, I want a piece of the Panthers. Like, do yourself a favor and look at the Panthers' last 8 games, and I can tell you what, Tom Jenkins isn't the kind of guy that you rest in round 27. Look, if he was a little bit cheaper, you could nearly look at him as a buy with the form that he's been in. But I would definitely not be trading him out when they're cooking and when Cleary's there and when they're playing some of these teams that they're going to be playing. If they're playing on a Thursday or a Friday night, Jenkins could be like vice captain worthy. Like, that's Absolutely. How high I am on Jenkins.
Nico Hines also.
With Jenkins, I think he falls into that Daniel Tupu RTS category or even Shibasaki as well. It's like, he's probably a center wing 6. If you don't sell him this week, you're probably never selling him.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. If you've got targets you want to get to, these gun guys, sure. But no, I do agree with Matty. I'd want a piece of that pie. I was looking at Brian Toto, and now I'm a little bit scared off with this knee issue. So
also, just before, I said cheapie of the year, and everyone in the chat saying Aaron Clark. I'm sorry. A guy that's 400K can't be a cheapie of the year.
Everyone's forgotten Shibasaki.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's because they all sold him, the same as Jenkins.
I've got a special place in my heart for Shibasaki because I remember getting rinsed for not owning Purdue. So, Shiba's 675K. Yeah, Shiba 657K with a 31 break even. Definitely cheap of the year.
I got one question. Is Jenkins playing Origin?
He isn't.
Well, Robert Toy is better than him, so keep going.
Imagine you got some stock in like a Shibasaki trading card. Mate, you're loving life. You bought some Shiba trading cards?
Yeah, we need a patch. We need a patch card of Shiba. That would be fire. All right, let's move on. Nathan Lawson. Nico Hines is the next one on the list. 4th most traded out player, strangely, from all coaches. You've got a pretty good argument, Josh, around the draw and holding Nico Hines, but you've been calling him a fraud all year. So spin me the narrative, because I know you love a narrative.
No, but it's just like it's a bit of do as I say, not as I do with Nico Hines. Like, I don't know why I started with him because for anyone that plays or consumed NRL fantasy content, Tristan from Talking League podcast was very inebriated. Took my phone 2 minutes before kickoff, ran around the start center with it, so I couldn't get to it. Gave me it back after kickoff, and he took Cleary out and put Hines in. So that's how I ended up with Hines. But I feel like people are judging he's been dog shit in real life. But he's been fine Supercoach-wise, like 62, 90, 57, 48, 68, 63, 76, 117, 78, 65. What's that? One score below 50 and then one score below 60 since round 7. I think that's fine. Then Dolphins next week, Roosters, Rabbitohs, Cowboys, Dragons, Titans, Newcastle. Look, Dogs in 27 is a bit shit. But our teams are probably deep enough that we can bench him then.
Yeah.
I just can't sell Nico with that draw.
I guess if you've got Nico and Hughes, what's your plan then? Are you just fading Cleary or are you doing Hughes to Cleary? How are you getting Cleary in? Is he someone that you're still looking at?
Yeah, I've got Cherry Evans sitting there, so
okay.
we'll get some cash together and get Cherry Evans. I don't have Hughes.
So that's the hard thing for me. I'm kind of like, well, what do I do with Hughes? Like, is it Hughes the guy that has to make way? I don't love that either. So it puts us in a pretty tricky spot. 3 really quality players, probably on even pegging this year versus, or maybe
or you
Nico's
still
for
Wayne
third.
Mulligan, just Cleary in the flex.
Maybe I just fade Pappy and just go Cleary in the flex. Maybe we'll see.
Can I
Nathan
give you
Lawson,
something, Braino? You could wait until Cleary comes back goal kicking, and then get it. Like that's the point.
That's the thing. Like, we'll probably have this conversation in like 2 weeks. But like, is Cleary a buy if he's not goal kicking? And I get that he scored like 90 something last game when he didn't goal kick, but it's kind of an outlier. Like, I'm okay to just run Cherry Evans until I see Cleary. Like, even Cherry Evans, he's 450k. He got 76. Cleary's $1 million and got 90. Like, I'd call that a DCA win. And until Cleary's kicking again, I'm okay to just fade him.
Yeah, me too, 100%. This is on the proviso that he was back goal kicking again that I'd buy him for sure.
Yep.
Nathan Lawson being traded out to Jed Stewart. We've made our opinion clear on that. I think Jed Stewart not a buy. Nathan Lawson not a sell. Just let him rot there at centre wing 7. He can be enough, really.
He's a force enough. He's enough that you don't have to waste a trade on.
Yeah, exactly. Kalen Ponga also, he's injured. Liz Frank. Lawson's 227. He's made you nothing.
So you're banking 30k? No.
Yeah, it makes no sense. It's a complete waste of a trade. Kalen Ponga, Liz Frank injury out for a while. Toby Couchman, busted shoulder, out for season, I think, or pretty close to it. Fletcher Sharp out for season as well. Jermaine Asako is the last one on this list. He is the 9th most traded out. I mean, look, if you're, what's the number of trades where you have to go, okay, I probably shouldn't trade out a guy that's going to be a warm body on the run home, Matty? Like, how many trades would you have to say, no, you probably need to hold Asako?
The line is 13.5.
So anybody under 13.5, you hold Asako. I reckon it's lower than that.
I mean, I mean, Asako's fine to play. Like, he's goal kicking, he's playing decent footy. Like, have a look how many points they've been scoring. Like, is this so when you're talking about this 3 weeks ago, is playing the Sharks into the Cowboys into, like, you want him for the Sharks and the Cowboys, right? Sharks into the Cowboys, into the bye, into New Zealand Warriors that seem to, like, just be getting worse and worse every week through injuries, not their fault. Like, suddenly with the structure that the teams have all been going, like, he's probably a hold for the next 3 or 4 weeks. I know there's a buy in there, but, like, he could absolutely cook. Like, if he averaged 80 in the next few weeks, I wouldn't be surprised with those matchups.
My concern is the change in spine for the Dolphins. Go to Nicarima now out. Hamiso may not back up. So then you've got Trey Fuller and Code Donahue as a spine. Like, it's a no from me, dog. Then you play the Cowboys in Suncorp. Yeah, look, that could be all right. Then you got to buy. Then you go into the Warriors and go media. Then you play the Roosters and the Broncos at Suncorp twice. At 701k, I am okay selling to Nwangli Tawaze. That's probably all I'm okay selling to.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's completely fair. I mean, look, we look at his last 4 scores, right, without goal kicking points. We take the goal kicking out. He scored 70 in round 14. Yeah, but the Dolphins aren't scoring. I don't know whether you think the Dolphins are going to continue to score 50 points per game, but it's not going to happen. Not a fucking chance. Not with Nicarima out either. Their spine now changes. I don't think they score 50 points a game every game.
And the best winger of all time, Jack Bostock.
Exactly. The best.
Hey, I'm the Dolphins' number one hater, but I just see those few games coming up, and I'm like, I'll probably hold.
I don't think it's going to happen. My argument is he scores 70 without the goal kicking in round 14, which is fine. He scores 50 against the Cowboys without the goal kicking. He scores... he scored a try in this one in round 16, so I won't count that. But he scored a try and got 65, so that's not exactly great. And then you take against Souths, where he didn't score a try last week when we thought it was a golden matchup when Souths conceded 1 million tries to right wingers. They went the other way. He scores 29 without the goal kicking. Like, I guarantee you, if he scored 29 last week and the Dolphins didn't score all those points, everyone's calling him a trade and we're not having this conversation. So
I get it.
Anyway.
But he also still has the goal kicking.
And a lot of people are saying, like, oh, you might do this, you might do that. Like, do you want to pay 700k for a Mike?
Oh, don't pay it.
No,
I'm
but
just
like,
saying, like, maybe it's not a trade out.
Yeah, but have you seen Mark Magnituaze without a shirt on? Like, can I influence you?
Mate, Jermaine Osaka's a good-looking bloke.
Oh, mate, yeah, I've called him an oily man. He's a very oily man.
Yeah, oily man. Yeah, I was going to say, are you buying Ryan Madison this week? Is it just going to be a theme of shirtless blokes? All right, let's move into the captains for round 18.
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
And change the stinger. Suck it. We've got the Bulldogs versus the Broncos. Obviously, the first targeted game, I think. I mean, are we looking at game one, Josh, for any captaincy option? Because I don't know whether there's anybody that is massively standing out unless you're a Kickow or a Preston owner running at those edges.
Yeah, I might double down and go kick our back-to-back weeks as VC because it didn't work last week and maybe it works this week. But yeah, no one really. Maybe Connor Tracy.
You still have Selwyn Cobbo?
Sure. I got him in draft off waivers this week, Selwyn Cobbo, just for a 1 week play.
Yep. You deserve it, King.
Thanks, mate. I do like, if you got Preston, I do like it as a play if he's running at Piakura. Like, that's a pretty nice matchup, to be fair. But yeah, I'm probably skipping this game. Look, there's just two games that are standing out, isn't there? It's the Storm versus the Cowboys, and then it's the Roosters versus the Tigers. But there is some merit in looking at the last game of the week with Manly against Souths too, without Latrell or Cody Walker.
Yeah. I'm a big Jazz fan guy, so I'm really keen to watch this game.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Corey Waddell. Let's talk about the Storm versus the Cowboys first, though. Pappy or Hughes are probably the standout options. Who are you picking? Because Pappy's been, let's say it, pretty disappointing the last month. Yeah. We called Hammer the Pappenhausen without goal kicking, right? Can Pappy have a resurgence against the Cowboys here? Because they seem to defend fullbacks okay. Like, they're 0.78 points per minute against fullbacks, which is just not amazing. What's that, 64 average?
And yeah, how many fullbacks are goal kicking? I think you got to factor that in. Like, this is the average fullback, but
yep.
I don't know. Pappy's look kind of average. Pappy's just look like the goal kicking Hammer.
Yeah.
So is it Hughes? Because they concede the most points to halfbacks.
Yeah, that was the stat, and I remember that you threw it out because you do some deep dives. But yeah, like, I think if I'm vice captaining from this game, I'm delving into that stack despite the no goal kicking. Like, last time you spat that stack, that was when Hughes scored like 120 and nobody vice captained or captained him. I think it's like a vice captain Hughes in this situation for me. But if you don't have him, like, yeah, like, if the Cowboys suck as much as they did last time Tom didn't play for them, then, like, at the very least, to quote our whole Jermaine Osako conversation, like, if Pappy scores 29, he can still score like 40 in goal kicks in this one.
I just want to give a shout out to Jamal Shibasaki for inspiring the Shibasaki Magic, getting a run on the extended bench for the Cowboys.
Love that. Good on him. Hopefully we see a double resurgence this year. That would be fantastic. Shame there's no more Origin games for him to play. Otherwise, he was a sure thing. I think Hughes is the pick over Pappy, but it's a matter of time, I think, before Pappy goes big again, just randomly out of nowhere.
And yeah, I was just mentioning it more for like the non-Hughes owners. I think Pappy's a fine VC if you don't own Hughes. Yeah.
Primary source, the man of taste, the VC Grant Anderson.
Love it. Can definitely get around that. It's the biggest
Grant
Anderson fan.
Peter Bedell's YouTube name is Primary Source. So.
Good
big Corey Mal guy in the chat. I'm actually very tempted to buy Grant Anderson. Don't ask me why.
No, I like it. It's super vibey as well, though. It's really vibey pick.
It just means I play Antipod Carraz for the rest of the season, which I don't know. I feel that.
Yeah, that's tough.
All right, next game.
Teddy versus Tigers. I don't think you need to look anywhere else. I think he needs to either be your captain or your vice captain. And if you don't have him, just buy him this week. Would you rip your team apart for Teddy this week?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what a backline. Sonny River, Charlie Staines, Luke Lowley, Stafford Toa, Jarrell Skelton, Adam Dewey, Lachi Fano. Stafford Toa deserves better. If he requested a release tomorrow, I'd be like, sure, I understand.
100%. I mean, we came out and said, we're re-signing him. And then he came out on Instagram basically saying, well, no, I'm not. Like, I haven't signed anything yet, which tells me that he's all but gone. So just another one out the door in the Benji Marshall sweepstakes. Teddy's the man. I don't think you need to outthink that one. It's either VC or it's C. Now, the question becomes, if you decide to go VC Teddy, who are you looking at against Souths? because you're not picking a Souths player, but are we looking at Garrick or Lehigh Hopewadi, or are you going the right centre for Manly Sea Eagles, Josh?
Oh, fuck. I was big Brandon Smith guy. Just impact off the bench.
Yeah.
You know, him, Cody Walker. Like, I don't know. Teddy has to have a certain captaincy on him, and it's not vice captaincy, in my opinion.
Yeah, look, I still don't mind captaining Garrick, personally, Matty. What are your thoughts? Is there a world where you could captain Garrick in this matchup?
That's what I'm doing, but I also don't have Teddy, which is probably all 17,000.
He's against Campbell Graham and Ty Munro.
Ty Munro's poor, but Campbell Graham, one of the best defensive centres in the game.
Also, I just realised that Ewan Atkins we named at centre. Fuck, I'm going to sell him.
I'm just going to keep him there because he's inevitably dropping out for me this week for sure.
I just realised.
What a shit trade. Fucking, that was my worst trade of the year by far. Terrible. I don't know. You always seem to follow me on the shit ones and then leave me on the good ones. So we've got to work that out. We've got to get in sync. Garrick's the man, I think, versus Souths if you're going to go that far.
And Garrick on the wing, and like it's not like they go and lose like Cherry Evans or anything in a like. And I know that that's not like the be all and end all, but like they should score points. So his base is going to go up. Rabbitohs without Trell. Like, is anyone high on AJ at fullback? Have we ever seen that?
I don't remember the last time I've seen AJ at fullback. No.
I feel like I've seen it like maybe like once or twice over the last couple of years.
It just wasn't amazing though. It's not like he went and scored a double and that.
Yeah.
Like Kelly wants to know, guys, what score are you needing for VC to not take Teddy? Has to be probably 110.
Yep.
I'm more like 90. I think one in the hands, worth two in the bush. We know that trap games are a real thing. Like, yeah, I'm probably more like 90.
I'm 100 on Teddy because I'm so high on the matchup.
I mean, the worst part is like, yeah, 100%. And, you know, you're always going to look back probably once or twice a season. Your captain's going to get knocked out. You're going to get a 13. And you're going to look back at it and you're going to go, fuck, I should have taken the 85 or whatever. But fuck, for the most part, you've got to look at the matchup. You can't just assume that someone's going to get knocked out. So I'm on board. I think Teddy 100 plus for me.
My favorite Supercoach memory is not even a memory of mine. It's 2021 and one Aman Talks is in my messages and saying, oh, how good's this? My vice captain, Cody Walker. He got 168. I'm going to loop it. And Turbo scored 215.
Yeah.
That could be the most unlucky VC loop you've ever seen.
Looping 170, is it looping 165 and losing by 50 points?
Fuck, that is rotten. But again, it's Turbo that year. He should have known. Turbo was scoring 200 like on his dick. So yeah,
every second week.
Yeah. Guys, that'll do before we start rambling on. Hopefully we've covered everything for you for the week. Big week ahead as well. Big moving week, I think, for those of you that are positioned pretty well for not only the run home, but for this last major bye. Obviously, coming into round 19 is going to be a bit tricky as well. So very important fortnight. Hopefully you've set your team up well. Not Kelmer. Luckily, I didn't buy Kelmer. I bailed on that one in the preseason, Wayne. Thanks for reminding me, though, mate. I'm going to sleep
Mitchell
very well
Moses
tonight.
has to be your best friend, honestly. He saved you.
Yeah, he did save me big time, absolutely. Otherwise, I would have bought him, and then it would have been an absolute shitter. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet. We'd appreciate that, and smash that like button. Helps the episode get out to more people. Otherwise, we'll see you for the Sunday wrap-up. Good luck this week. Hopefully some green arrows inbound. We'll catch you then.
Cheerio.